Contrary to the most popular belief, two narcissists do pursue each other and get into a relationship. A marriage or any other form of union between two narcissists is a dance macabre, a twisted ballet of chaos and destruction, entwining two wretched souls in a complex and turbulent partnership that consumes everything that becomes a part of their life, especially those they bring into this world. This dramatic and crazy saga unfolds in stages, each more devastating than the last. Hi, I am Danish, a narcissistic abuse recovery professional. In this episode, we will learn what happens when two narcissists get together. If you find that interesting and would like to learn more about topics like this one, subscribe and push the bell icon to stay updated. Before we begin, I'm curious to know, were both of your parents narcissists? If yes, what were your experiences like? Drop them in comments below and help other survivors feel validated. It all begins with a different form of the love bombing phase. Like moths drawn to a flame, two narcissists initially find each other irresistible due to the one narcissist's overtly expressed charisma, charm, and confidence, and the other narcissist's need for it. When I say two narcissists, I am talking about a combination of a grandiose overt narcissist and a vulnerable covert narcissist. A match made in hell. They bask in the validation they receive from each other and thrive on the supply they get from influencing each other's ego. This ego worshipping and ego feeding create an intoxicating connection that ensnares them both. They both engage in a dizzying dance of mirroring. A facade interacts with the facade and co-idealization happens, which forms a seemingly unbreakable yet very toxic bond. They project their desires and fantasies, creating a shared illusion of perfection for each other in a different way. But then begins the power struggle. Eventually, shit hits the fan and the need for control arises. Both narcissists inevitably engage in a fierce battle for control, attempting to establish dominance in the relationship. One tries to subdue the other, and eventually one becomes the dominant and the other more submissive, yet subtly controlling and abusive. This power struggle results in manipulation, overt and covert aggression, and outright conflict. Both narcissists employ ruthless tactics to assert their superiority and dominance, which makes the environment extremely chaotic and tumultuous. They engage in a relentless war of competition and comparison, trying to outdo one another in various aspects of life. This constant rivalry breeds resentment and jealousy, and they become thirsty for each other's blood. They feel threatened by each other's success and undermine their achievements constantly until one or both of them start pleasing the other in some crazy way while devaluing each other at the same time. The criticism in this kind of relationship is beyond what one can imagine. Unlike a non-narcissist relationship where the narcissist criticizes and the non-narcissist internalizes the criticism, a relationship between two narcissists is sustained by a cycle of one narcissist criticizing the other and the criticized narcissist getting a big ego injury, who then makes a huge dramatic scene about it and enjoys the state of perpetual victimhood. The overt attacks, subtle jabs, mutual disrespect and disregard they have for each other make their life a shit show. In a double narcissistic relationship, both partners retreat into a deep emotional freeze, resulting in a profound lack of intimacy and connection. There is nothing but animosity, aggression, jealousy, mistrust, and deceit which they harbor in their hearts. The void of emotional fulfillment in the relationship often leads both darksiders to seek validation and admiration in bizarre ways, like projecting an image of a perfect couple in public and vicariously living through each other. This pursuit of external validation plunges them into the darkness of infidelity, the fakery of the highest degree, deceit, and betrayal. Eventually, emotional and psychological abuse becomes a poisonous brew, slowly corroding their souls further to the point of no return. They gaslight, manipulate, and criticize the heck out of each other and never get tired of doing so. In some cases, the power struggle and tension escalate to physical violence. The craziness turns into pushing, shoving, hitting, or other forms of physical aggression and only worsens over time. The biggest victims of this Helheim are not narcissists, no. The biggest victims are the innocent children caught in the crossfire. I am the product of this kind of environment, and I can tell you nothing is worse than having two narcissistic parents. The children born into this tumultuous union often suffer every second of their life from adversity, lack of genuine emotional support, and instability. As their parents prioritize one-upping the other over their children's well-being, the children are forced to become adults without proper support and care from their parents. They don't form a stable sense of identity and self-worth. The constant power struggles, fights, and emotional chaos in their home leave them traumatized, which they then keep reliving in adulthood with abusive partners. They are forced to pick roles, choose one parent over the other, and if they do not, they are emotionally disowned. It is nerve-wracking for the child because they have no one to go to and depend on. They normalize the abuse of the lesser narcissist, which entraps them in the enmeshment. In my case, my father was a malignant narcissist and my mother a covert one. You know how coverts work. They do a perfect job at brainwashing you into thinking they love you while undercover abuse you, which you're not equipped as a child to recognize. I thought she was the best mom in the world, only to realize she was the opposite. Talking about discard, you may not see a real or true discard in such relationships. Quite weirdly, they stay with each other in a trauma bond, continuing the dance macabre while destroying their children in the process. They become each other's destructive source of supply and internally discard and replace each other with children and other people who enable them while keeping the public image of togetherness intact. In conclusion, we can say a union between two narcissists is a chaotic and destructive force, characterized by a twisted dance of ego worship, power struggles, manipulation, and emotional abuse. This toxic relationship does not impact the involved narcissists as much as the children caught in the crossfire. While such relationships may not often result in a true discard, the perpetual cycle of chaos and internal replacement continues to wreak havoc on all involved. That was it for today's episode. I hope you found it insightful. If you did, please let me know in comments. Drop a like and share this episode with others. I'll talk with you in the next one. Until then, let the healing begin and continue.